Now, just out of interest for everybody, we do have a lot of, well, we have a couple of DOT folks in the room. I'm Wendy Johnson. I'm with the Department of Transportation. We have our division engineer, John Rouse. We have John Arms, who is the assistant resident engineer on the Hunter Hill project. We have our board member, Mr. Gus Tullis. And we also have some people here from the city staff. Do y'all mind introducing yourselves?
Bob League, City of Rocky Mountain's transportation planner.
Steve Getman, assistant city engineer, City of Rocky Mountain.
Todd Gardner, transit director of the City of Rocky Mountain.
Okay. And this is really an informational meeting about the potential closure of Hunter Hill Road over US 301. And the main thing we wanted to do tonight is just give the citizens an opportunity to give us any feedback or give us your opinion about this closure. Our plan right now is to close the road on Monday. But we're certainly open to any opinions that the citizens have, and we want to make sure that when we, the department, have done our homework in thinking about this closure and the benefits to the department, the benefits to the people who drive on the road, the benefits to the people who are working on the project, that we believe we considered everything. We just want to make sure y'all may have something to offer that we haven't thought about, and that's one of the main reasons for having the meeting tonight. So the biggest issue is that, do you mind if I ask y'all to live off of Hunter Hill? Okay. So the biggest issue with Hunter Hill at 301, when you cross over, is a very congested area. And as you probably have experienced, say if you drove through Hunter Hill this week, we were doing some excavation, we had a lot of trucks in and out, and it was very frustrating to a lot of people who were traveling through the project because they were getting delayed, being stopped by the trucks. And the good thing about, when you think about closing down the road to do the construction work, is you eliminate all that. The downside is that people have to drive around it. But if we close Hunter Hill over the 301, what it will mean is the Hunter Hill project is not scheduled to be completed until the end of July of 2014. And that is if it were on schedule. The project is currently not on schedule due, in part due to Hurricane Irene. There was a lot of power utility relocation that needed to occur on the project. It kind of got slowed down. And basically we're about a month behind on the project, which means that, we really won't finish until the end of August 2014. If we do this and we close the road, we will close the road for 12 months, but the project will finish by the end of 2013. So it's as much of an 8 or 9 month savings on the project completion, and just not having all of the conflict that there is now in that location if we close the road. So really, other than, I know you didn't have a map, so you have a map now, there are several detours that you can use. We'll have 2 signed detours. One of them will be to use 64 back to Winstead, back down Hunter Hill, and the other one will be to use Bivenue to Jeffries, to Kirby. Those will be the 2 signed detours, but anybody who's in this area and familiar with it, there are all kind of ways to navigate around if motorists were to find maybe a shorter route that would work for them. So I will be open at this time if y'all want to speak and tell me your opinion or opposition, or we can do that privately if either one would be fine, or if you have any questions.
Well, when we come down Hunter Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times, sometimes we come down off of 64 down to the stoplight there, the Waffle House, and come down and turn through the Golden Corral and come back and come across where we stay.
Yes, ma'am. I think a lot of people do that.
But will that still be so we can come through that?
Well, it won't be one of our assigned detour routes, but I'm assuming if the property owners want to keep allowing that, that would still be the same, yes.
Because I think most of the people stay over to go through that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now repeat that quick, you go where now?
We turn it to Golden Corral and come across Hunter Hill. Because we come across Hunter Hill onto Memory Lane.
Oh, okay.
Come out of there. Everybody does that.
Yeah, let's say-
Name of the road, Bishop Lane.
Witnesses, unless the property owner shuts it off. See what
Because
happens.
we've done it ever since they've been there.
I imagine if you stop, and they'll probably appreciate your business.
You ever stop and eat there when you're doing it?
Sometimes. If they cut it off, people might not go there that much. But they do stay full of people though.
Yes, ma'am.
Or we could just come through big lots.
Yeah. But there's traffic that goes over there, but it's, again, to relieve this congestion, and the quicker we can get these roads open, obviously, you may remember downtown, of course, the city's doing a great job downtown, but there's been a whole lot of construction downtown that's probably inconvenienced a lot of folks for a while, but it's really going to be a wonderful thing, when it's finished. And the sooner they can finish, and I know the half of those folks are going to do it.
And I know that going up and down there,
Yes, ma'am.
across the bridge and all, with everybody, you get kind of confused with everything going on. They're putting up posts and the wires and everything else going on, and there's so much traffic has come on that road. I said, I think everybody's coming on there to see what's going on.
But you're exactly right, and the nature of the way the project was phased originally, where we were going to build one bridge, move traffic to it, and then build another bridge, lends itself to that kind of confusion that you're talking about. And that's the other really good thing about just shutting it down and doing it all at once. And when it's reopened, it'll be very clean and easy for everybody to navigate through. So that'll be a big positive.
Safety, as you can imagine, is our biggest issue, and one of them. And we have this, helps that situation.
When did you anticipate any cost savings?
Do what?
There is a cost savings. Right now, just the quick estimate is about $120,000. But and that is a lot of money, but that is nothing to us compared to making it safer, really, for the motorists and the people who work on the project. Because just like I talked about earlier, it is very confined at that bridge. And we have extreme excavations that we need to do beside the existing bridge, and it just, the overall safety is probably the most critical, and the thing that drove us the most about trying to see if this was a possibility.
I'm here completely to learn and not to complain. It may be appropriate that you or someone on the staff just meet with Greg Browning, who is the head general manager of the Social Security Administration office, has just opened 200 yards from this bridge. People in the community that serves 3-4 counties have just learned how to get there. They've only been in there since last July, August. I represented to them that this wasn't going to happen because it was important to the General Service Administration when they hired us to build a building, that bridge, that there would always be traffic coming from in a westerly direction on Hunter Hill Road, and they could go over that bridge. And so when I answered, I contacted whoever it was at that time and said, no, we're going to have to dual bridge.
Right.
Okay, so I'm here because I know that I'll have to be accountable to them for what changed. So maybe since you or someone on staff have this emblem on your card, you can you give it more credibility.
Surely.
And so we'll check Social Security that we'll just go meet with them one day.
Sure.
As far as the Hunter Hill Shopping Center is concerned, I'll just have to go before the Merchant Association meeting in the March meeting, and they'll want to know my recommendation for how they will send word to their clients through advertising and so forth, how to navigate from east of Hunter Hill Shopping Center to the shopping center in the easiest way now that you can't go over the bridge. Obviously, the only thing that's going to change is that little short area over the bridge. I'm right about that. You can still get on 301 and exit at what I call the Home Depot.
Yes, sir.
And go through. Okay,
Yes.
got that one going for us.
Yes.
If you come down Hunter Hill Road in a westerly direction and reach the bridge and realize that you either forgot or didn't know that the bridge is not open, then in order to then change and end up on the west side of 301, let's think about what do you do at that point? Do you, rather than cutting through Western Sizzlin and going the other way, I'm looking at your map, the roadway that goes through the Oceanville dealership, that's not really a roadway, is it? That's,
No, you can do that. I did it the other day.
I did too.
And I don't know though that if a lot of people start to do that they might not close. They have a gate there. So really what you're going to have to do is turn around in that neighborhood and go back out and go one of the signed detours.
Okay, let's do that one time, even though I've driven it and I've tried it.
Go to Kirby.
Do you know how you would do it if you turned at the movie theater and your destination was the Pizza Inn, and you arrived a distance from the bridge and realized that the bridge, you couldn't go over it? What would you recommend happens at that point?
Well, you will be able to turn back into the subdivision.
Okay.
So you could either turn back into the subdivision and then come back out to Hunter Hill and then come back out to 4348 and take one of the signed detours. Or you could, depending on how large a vehicle you're
I'm with you. I think I mean
Okay.
just regular vehicular traffic.
Right. Right.
That when what I want to be able to do is when I go to a merchants meeting, is that the way I present it is done in such a calm manner, in such an obvious manner that I can mitigate what is going to already be a stressful situation for them.
Sure.
And that's the only route I found a problem was obviously if you make that turn off of Bienvenue Road and start working your way up Hunter Hill and don't know any better, but clearly signage,
Yeah. So
the bridge is out, don't dare go, you can't get over it, that kind of thing, that'll help.
And that's what these maps are displaying. There's going to be so many barricades and road closed signs and changeable message signs, and they'll even be signing as you're approaching Hunter Hill, telling you that it's closed to local traffic only. So hopefully anybody who turns is going to see this barricade. There's got to be a red flag that they may need to go.
So it's unlikely that somebody's going to go as far as I was talking about,
Right.
to have to learn that you
Well,
can't
and
go
they may, but
Okay.
but our attempt is to get them before they get that far with the signing that will be in place.
Okay.
How far up would the detour start when you're coming west and then moving here? How far?
Well,
Oh,
it
that's
will
okay.
be open to local traffic, and it will only be closed. I mean, almost right at
That's
the
good.
bridge.
bridge.
That's good.
But like I say, back here on 4348, there'll be signs that'll tell you, like I say, the road's closed to local traffic only. There'll be those big barricades with the orange and white stripes with big signs on them. We're going to be running some changeable message signs out here so that people will know, because it is extremely unusual. I would say this: we don't normally decide to close a road and then come to a public meeting and say we're closing it Monday. That's a very unusual situation. We normally like to have about 2 weeks in there, but we're trying to take advantage of the availability of some of the subcontractors that the contractor has lined up, so that we might even be able to compress this 12 months. Because our goal is to get this thing in, get it done, get it over with. So that's the reason that we're kind of pushing and saying, let's go ahead and do it Monday. But hopefully we'll start running the changeable message signs tomorrow. They're on site, right, John?
Yes.
To let people know who normally take this route, they're going to need to start thinking about a different route.
And I know the Golden Corrals will be accessible in the Toyota place on the backside. That would be accessible as well, right?
Yes, but I mean, obviously that's not a department
Right. Yeah.
road. And
Yeah. I mean, like if they
All
just
I
wanted
can
to,
say
if
is
they
if
wanted
you
to go to the Toyota place.
you use that route, I hope
Yeah.
you'll stop there and eat.
Where the signage stuff is really important, particularly the barriers. I don't know how many come from Raleigh on 540 and then get near Nightdale and go around to get back on 64. But if you see all those signs as you're going around that circle, they have, at first they just had simple little gates up there, but now they must have 3 or 4 sections of them, because folks, I guess, sometimes are not paying attention and coming flying through that and going off that little cliff. So we'll have it won't be that much speeding, but I mean, we'll certainly have appropriate signage, and may have to change it 2 or 3 times to see what fits the best.
Wendy, will one of the signs make a clear statement that the bridge is closed? Because if you say something like open to local traffic, I've been on those kinds of situations before. You figure, well, I'll just have to go slow and maybe change lanes or follow some directions, but I think you should have something that says clearly bridge is closed, because the worst situation would be, as Norman was thinking, early on, the first few days, you get a tractor trailer truck and he gets all the way up to the backside of Golden Corral, at the bridge. His turning around is going to be difficult.
Well, it is an interesting thing that you are talking about, and believe you me, we have another project not related to this one in Smithfield where we've had endless conversations about this exact subject. But you have to think about, you have different type of motorists who are going to be affected by this. You have the people who have gotten these flyers, who know about it, who know where they live, who know where the bridge is, who know that it's going to be closed. We don't really need to communicate with them. They already understand it because they live in the area. Then you have the people who are not familiar with the area at all. And if you tell them bridge closed, they don't know where the bridge is. So that doesn't have any meaning to them. And then you have the people who are more along the line of what Mr. Chambliss was talking about. Maybe they frequent some businesses and that's the way they travel, and it's familiar to them but somewhat unfamiliar to them too. They may know that there's a bridge, but they may not have an exact knowledge of where it is related to where they're going. So we avoid using the word bridge out just because the main thing that we want people to know is, that it is open to local traffic, because there are businesses that are affected, because we have to think about, we're going to have the same thing in the opposite direction too. There are businesses that people need to come to. So we want people to be able to go down if they need to, but we want them to have a place to turn around to. There's no way in the few words that we can use on messaging and signage to convey, this whole sheet of paper. We just have to do the best we can. So I don't know if that's a very good explanation, but
to overly simplify, if everything would work exactly like you would hope it would, what you are saying is that if the people who are impacted would be patient for as long as 12 months, that what we'll do is we'll give you the finished product 8 months earlier than we were going to anyway. So the 12 we take off of the front end, we'll give you 8 of it back on the other end. Your net loss is 4.
that's true.
I mean, that's not misrepresenting the situation at all.
No, but the only thing is, and for everybody, what that means is different.
Of course.
if I'm a person, a homeowner who lives in that area and I have to drive around that detour every day, obviously that 12-month detour is a bigger impact to someone who just visits a business once a week. And so there's certainly differences there. But in the end, that's what we're hoping. But I'm actually hoping for something better than that, because, and I can't, PLT hasn't given us promises of this, but if you think about the way construction is and the type of works you do and the type of seasons that you do them in, you know, they're going to be in a position, they can't pave, which is one of the final things you do on a project, in December. They have to really think they have to finish it before then. So I think it's reasonable they'll finish around November. So, you know, maybe it's 9 months. But then you also add to it that it's safer and, you know, and that motorists aren't being forced into that, trying to drive through a project, and we've got all this equipment and just the congestion that you eliminate. So.
You already know this, but the group that I'm an advocate for, that I've got to go back and meet with, are merchants whose cash register in their mind could be affected, not ring up as often because people can't get there as easily from that lane. Whereas if they were inconvenienced trying to get home at night, that's just an inconvenience. It doesn't affect an income stream. And, so I'm trying to give a position to these merchants to say, you may have to give up something on this end, but if you were able to raise enough cane over it to stop it, which is just, I'm using it hypothetically, all it would do is add back another 8 or 9 months on the other end of the helter-skelter that goes on with road construction that you already can't stand right now. So it's just, it's pick your poison. You can do it now or later.
That's right.
So that's how I intend to present it.
That's right.
And we'll do the best we can.
And you know, we had a business, and I won't say who it was, that was on the Northern Connector project too. Throughout the life of the project, they felt that they were impacted, and they were impacted because businesses are impacted when we have active construction work zones going on. There's no doubt about it, and it was very frustrating for them. But they had relayed to a person that we know very recently that now that the project's over, they love it. They love the new road. They love the additional business that they're getting because people are driving through. And so you're exactly right. You know that it is hard, but this isn't a choice between hard and easy. This is a choice between hard and hard, and let's just get it over with quicker.
And we're asking people to justify something in their own mind that they really are never going to have to experience now. So you don't get to look back on it later and talk about that 9 months that it got finished earlier, because to them it finishes exactly on the same day it always would. Right. They don't ever get to live through what that last 9 was going to be like. So you've really got to be a little bit of a forward thinker to understand the concept of you people are really trying to give this project to these merchants earlier than you're going to if you don't do it this way.
Exactly.
So they're just like me and you. They can only see past tomorrow afternoon because that is that critical to them, you know, what their business level. And so I want to make sure on their behalf that I came tonight and I said to you and the staff that anything you can do to help offset the impact that the change in the traffic pattern has specifically on the merchants at Hunter Hill Shopping Center, who I think are the most heavily impacted of the bridge closing. I think Golden Corral and the Toyota dealership, and you know, they'll make it fine because 301's their artery, but starting from the food line all the way down to the end, they're all convinced that they're going to know the day you close that bridge. It's going to show right up in the sales. I tell them to prove it. I want to see it, but I don't mean that negatively when I say it. But my point is like talking to anyone when you say don't don't go ahead and just doom and gloom it. Let's see if it really does work out, and then, and if it is that way, you know, we'll have to deal with it. But I want them to know that you'd be able to say you understand that, and that as fast as you close it, you will, and as fast as you can get it back open, you will. I wish you could. I was trying to think what appropriate to say here tonight, and I wish you could do the bridges rather than in 1 year. There was some way that you could do those bridges in 7 months, but I know you do too.
We do too, and as a matter of fact, that's where we kind of started our discussions with the contractor. But it's not just 2 bridges, it's also 2 retaining walls, 2 really large retaining walls. And one of the problems that we have on the east side of the bridge is we have settlement periods where they have to put, this is one of the reasons that we're having to excavate so much. We're going to go in and we're going to put what's called wick drains in and then put our material on and let it settle out. So until that really just drags out the constructions, because we have a 3-month settlement
I
period.
think it's 2 months.
2-month settlement period. So
Understand. I'm fine. Thank y'all for letting me come and talk to you.
thank you for coming, and I appreciate y'all coming as well.
Well, can I ask, are there going to be some of those orange things taken up down the other way towards the VA? Or are all of them supposed to sit there the whole time?
They won't sit there exactly like that the whole time, because at some point we're gonna shift traffic over into those new lanes, and that area will change.
Because they are really distracting at night. There's so many of them.
Right. We don't want you to go to the wrong place, but I understand what you're saying.
Almost
They're very
did the other
bright.
night. I was going to Big Lots and see if we can go off of that road and go around to Big Lots. And I almost went back up the wrong way. And he said, "You're going the wrong way." And I was just right, so I could keep on across. But, you know.
Well, be careful.
Because you can go through the Big Lots and that comes out to a stoplight, so that's almost like a road coming through there. So we have ways of getting to the shops and stuff that way. And it's never bothered me. I mean, we go in and out that way a whole lot. Through by Wendy's and go through Golden Corral. It's a shortcut for a lot of people that stay over there. They don't keep us from the shops. But the bridge was really getting bad.
Yes, ma'am.
We really need a bridge.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
Bob, I want to thank Bob, I thank the city for suggesting that we have this meeting tonight and making the chambers available. This didn't have to happen, but the city asked that we do it, and Wendy and her crew were gracious enough to put this thing together. So please express that to the council that we will.
Will do, sir.
And thank you for coming.